Hello, it's Tristan here from Zebra Invest, and I'm just back outside Funfair House in Norwich, where we've just got planning permission. And it's planning that's a little bit bittersweet. And the reason being is it's gone through. We've got the planning permission now to be able to convert it into each floor into a flat, but it's got a couple of limitations. And I'm just going to pop inside, show you around, and explain what those are. So having just spent the last 3 years going through the pain of getting planning permission and the challenges of neutrality, Wendell Beck came through and have offered us credits. So we now have credits for nitrate and phosphate. And basically, for those who don't know what that means, every time you go to the loo, whether you do a poo or a wee, you're putting extra phosphate or nitrate into the water. And with Norfolk being a special protected area because of the Broads, we now have to make sure that all properties and projects we do are nutrient neutral. So if we've got a whole load of people moving in here, we need to make sure that we're pulling that same amount of nutrient out of the water, so then the whole project when it's finished is neutral. So originally we put a planning application in back in, I believe 2022. It was roughly when we bought it after having picked it up from Auction House East Anglia. Challenge being is we got caught straight away with this nutrient neutrality. Since then, we've then gone through the whole process of getting planning permission. We've gone through, I think, 3, maybe 4 different planning officers, each who've wanted their own impact and points to add to the project and to the development. So it's rearranged slightly differently inside, but the outside of the building still looks just as beautiful as it did when we decided to put the original application into it. But we've been slapped with a few planning conditions. And I thought this might be quite interesting for anyone else there who doesn't understand what planning conditions are, or what they are, or how you might deal with them. So a planning condition is something they'll write into the planning application that you've put in, so then they can understand or basically set out things that they want to have done or achieved with the property. For example, with this property, the back wall faces out to a nightclub. So they want to make sure that once the property is done, it's got mechanical heat ventilation and recovery, so that way these rooms have all got ventilation in them, even when all the windows are shut. But the next thing that our council officer has done, council officer or planning officer has done, is they've also said that none of the windows in the back of this building can be opened. Their idea being that way the noise can't get in. Problem is, who on earth would want to live in a flat or a property where you don't have windows that could open? So we actually had an acoustic survey done in the first place. And with that survey, it simply said that the windows at the back of the property can't be opened between 11 PM at night and 7 o'clock in the morning. Which means we need to get rid of those conditions. And usually what you do with conditions, most of the time, is you're going to be satisfying them. So I'll explain what that means in a second. But with this one, we actually need to have it removed. So you can either apply, according to my lovely friend Ranjit, for a variation of the conditions, or you can even appeal them. And you'd appeal them in the same way that you'd appeal, say, a planning application, you'd go to an inspectorate. You're basically saying what they're suggesting is unfair and they shouldn't have put that in the first place. So condition number 7, we're going to be coming right at you to ask for a variation. But other conditions are fairly straightforward. They could be as simple as, what type of materials are you going to be using in the building? What are your windows going to be? What type of cladding you're going to put in the building? Do you have certain type of bricks that you're going to be putting on the outside of it? Where everything's going to be going and how that's all going to be coming together. Those ones are fairly easy. You can simply obtain the materials that you need, take them down to the council and run through them. You have to submit and say exactly what that product is, what you're going to be using it for, where it's going to be used and how it's going to be used. And then you'll then submit that. Each time you submit for a condition, it is going to cost you a little bit of money. When speaking to Ranjit from RS Studios, that's around about £70 to get that done, plus their time for getting those all submitted and signed off. So we've got about 7 of them to be able to get all fulfilled and get them all cleared up. And then that way, we'll have planning permission on 74 St Face Lane to turn it into Funfair House. I can't wait to get it all done. We've been going out, we've already had a contractor come out and quote and tender for it. And we're also going to be looking, watch this space up here, to see whether we can add an additional floor to the building. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments box below. Hopefully you smash the like button, and I'll catch you later. Bye.